for this kind of drawing session this morning, I'm going to show you a couple of little things to practice. So through a lot of these drawing videos that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks, I mentioned guidelines a lot. So understanding what a guideline is kind of quite important, and it's something that a lot of people don't do initially when they start drawing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with drawing guidelines. In fact, drawing guidelines makes your drawings better. It's a good way to learn. It's a good way to practice, and even kind of as accomplished artists, use guidelines to kind of sketch things out first of all. Guidelines are literally a way of planning out your drawing before you put in the lines that you want to keep. The problem is with guidelines is it means drawing really light. So barely touching the paper, and that's quite a difficult thing to do. So from the first time you ever pick up a pencil, when you're sort of a few months old, and you jam it down onto the bedroom wall or onto a piece of paper or onto the floor, whatever it might be, and you make a mark, and you're trying to make the darkest mark you can. It's a mark that you can see really clearly, and you kind of continue doing that kind of for years afterwards. So every time you pick up a pencil, you automatically put it on the paper and you make quite a dark mark. So getting out of that is a tricky thing to do, but it's a really good thing to do if you can. So practicing drawing really, really light will improve all of your drawings. So the first thing we're going to do this morning, this is the first of two little things I want to show you, is to practice drawing guidelines. Now if I show you on here, if I sketch something, I mean, you should barely be able to see that. Let's just move the lamp a little bit. You can see it slightly better. There we go. Okay. If I sketch in like this, actually I don't really like that. I want it a bit bigger. In fact, that's not quite right. So I want it bigger. Now I'm pressing much harder here than I normally would. But this is how sort of guidelines work, is you can make mistakes. You can, actually I want the ears a bit bigger. A little nose there. No, I don't want that nose there. I want the nose bigger. And you end up with these quite messy sort of drawings. But it doesn't matter, because the whole point with your guidelines is that by the time you come to drawing in over the lines that you want to keep, you don't really pay attention to the guidelines anymore. You just look at these darker lines that you've decided to keep. And the guidelines kind of disappear, you know? There you go. So all of these guidelines, these messy little marks, they don't really matter. You know, you don't really notice them anymore. Now, when you're drawing your guidelines, the best way to know if you've done them sort of light enough, dark enough, is imagine somebody is sat next to you, and imagine somebody is sat next to them. Okay, now your guideline, if you can see it, obviously that's fine, that's what you want. If the person next to you can see it, that's okay, that's not too bad. If the next person across can see it, you've done them too dark. So you need to draw them as light as you possibly can. So start off drawing a circle, and next to it draw a lighter circle, next to it draw an even lighter circle, next to it an even lighter circle, and an even lighter circle. I'm not sure how much that one's showing up on the video. You can just about see it, I think. But these ones, these are what your guidelines should look like. You want them really, really light. Do them a little bit darker just so you can see them on the video. But this is too dark. You want to draw them as light as you can. And then you can sort of make mistakes. You can play about with different things, you can sketch, it doesn't matter how messy they are, because by the time you draw over the lines that you want to keep, That's the line. Those are the lines that you notice. You don't notice all of these other ones. Now, one of the things that I do in my drawing sessions, I don't have many rules in drawing sessions. The whole idea is that you can sort of just draw anything and have fun. But when I'm working in schools, I don't allow people to use rubbers. I don't allow people to rub out their work or cross out the work, because mistakes are a really good thing. And well, we'll get onto that in another session, kind of how mistakes are a valuable thing for when you learn how to draw. But not being able to rub things out also encourages you to draw light and take a little bit more care when you're drawing these guidelines. So just practice doing this. Practice with your circles, drawing a dark circle, and as you go across the page, getting lighter and lighter. By the time you get to the fourth or fifth one, really nice and light. That's how light your guidelines should be. So whenever you come to drawing your sketches, if it's the hands that I showed you the other day, there's your arm, the guideline for your hand, really super light. The thumb, really super light. And when you first sketch your fingers in, keep them nice and light. And then when you're happy with that shape, this is when you can go over the lines darker. And they're the lines that you want to keep. Okay? But the guidelines don't really matter. You can just sort of leave them in there. You don't have to rub them out at all. So that's the first thing for you to practice, because that's going to come up quite a lot in these drawing sessions as I do them over the next couple of weeks. Drawing guidelines is something that I do for pretty much everything, so this is a nice way to sort of practice. The other thing I would like you to practice is, this is kind of like changing the way that you draw slightly. Now, if there's anybody out there doing these drawing sessions who does this when they're drawing, so I'm going to draw a circle, okay? You draw really carefully like that. If anybody does that, feathery drawing, stop, okay? Just stop. Now, I know you're being really careful drawing like this. The problem is what you want to do is you want to practice how you're drawing lines. You want your lines and your drawing technique to be better and cleaner and easier. What you're doing here is you're drawing lots and lots and lots and lots of little lines. So your individual lines might get better, but the overall shape won't really. You're practicing drawing these tiny little lines. What I want you to try and practice doing is things just in one smooth line. So again, drawing a circle, instead of drawing this feathery circle going all the way around, stop doing that feathery technique and just try draw a circle. It won't be a perfect circle. It might be kind of all over the place. It might be a bit of an oval, but just practice drawing circles. Just one smooth, continuous line. Again, not pressing too hard, and eventually your circles will get better and better and better, and eventually you'll be able to draw really good circles, really nice and clean in one continuous line. And then you can do the same thing with ovals. Just practice and practice and practice until you get this one clean continuous line. Same with squares. Draw one clean line. Rather than drawing your squares with these feathery lines, because like I say, there's a couple of problems with that. You end up with these sort of furry lines that don't look particularly good anyway. But you're not practicing the technique of drawing. You're not making your lines cleaner and smoother. You're practicing lots and lots of tiny individual lines, so you'll get very good at drawing really tiny individual lines, but you won't get better at drawing these shapes. And then once you've got these shapes and stuff, just have a little bit of fun. Play about, turn these into some characters. Here we go. This one. Let's turn this one into a little bird. we go. Let's have a look. This one, you'll see I've drawn these kind of guidelines on quite a few of the faces and characters and stuff that I do. I will show you how to do these in another session. But for today, this is just all about practicing nice, clean, simple shapes and your guidelines as well. So like I say, as I show you different bits and pieces over the next sort of couple of weeks, these techniques are going to be really important. So your guidelines getting lighter and lighter, and your clean, continuous shapes, not doing your feathery little lines. Tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to do some different sort of characters and things. I've had lots and lots of suggestions through, sort of requests for different drawing videos. So I'll figure out exactly what I'm going to do later on today. But just for today, practice this as much as you can. Have a little bit of fun with it. Again, don't get frustrated if you can't do it straight away. It's just a case of practicing and practicing. It is quite tricky, especially drawing these kind of lighter lines. And these smooth, clean shapes, you'll probably draw 100 circles that don't look like circles, but then eventually you'll start to get much better at it, and it'll make all of your drawing much easier. Cool. Okay, so thank you for joining me again. Have fun, and I will see you all again tomorrow.